Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent and the most merciful. Guys, as I told you before, that I will explain you the vertical line test. Okay, so I'm going to explain what is a vertical line test. What do you understand by the word vertical line test? It is very important if you want to understand function. So I'm going to explain you here vertical line test. Vertical line test. This is vertical line test. Look, please be serious, okay, if you want to understand the concept of vertical line test, because there are many tests. I will tell you step by step, okay? So when we study about vertical line test, what is the importance of vertical line test? Okay, so if you know the concept of the vertical line test, it is so easy to explain about a function. But for vertical line test, you must know about a graph. As I told you before in my previous lectures, we have linear equations, we have quadratic equations, we have polynomials, we have trigonometric functions, inverse function, absolute functions, greatest integer function, least integer functions, trigonometric functions, inverse function, a lot of functions, right? And if you know the graph, because every equation has a graph, okay? So if you know the graph, okay, it is so easy to tell about a function using vertical line test. Vertical line test plays a very important role in function. So if you don't know the graph, then it will take time to understand about a function, as I explained in my previous lectures, right? But if you know the concept of the graphs, it is so easy to define the vertical line test. So now I'm going to explain you what does it mean. As you know, the vertical, I just write down here, vertical is this one. This is just a line, vertical, or you can say vertical line, right? This is the vertical line. If you have any line like this one, this is called vertical. This, like this one, okay? So this is the vertical line. This means it is a vertical line. Test means you are going to perform a test here, right? Means will be a testing to understand either the relation is a function or not, okay? So I'm going to give you one example. Example. For example, I have a line, any line. For example, I have y is equal to 2x plus 1, okay, and the graph is always a line, okay. Y is equal to 2, this is 2, which is greater than 1, so it will be, the line is attracted by the y-axis, as I told you in my previous lecture, and this is plus 1, so it will catch here. So the graph will be a line, something like this one. I'm not going to measure the accurate line. I'm going to give you any line if you find. As I told you, we have 4 types of line, like horizontal line, vertical line, slant line, okay? So if you have any line, right, and you want to check this one is a function or not, function or not, right? So what you have to do, if you know this is a line, you have to check this by vertical line test. Means you are going to draw a vertical line through this line from anywhere. See, if you draw any vertical line and you find only one intersection, this is the point of intersection, the common point between a line and the vertical line, right? This is called common point. So whenever you see there is only one intersection point, you can say the given relation is a function. And if you find more than one intersection point, like if you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then easily you can say the given relation is not a function. So we understand that this is a function. So if you have any line, you can say that this is what a function, and that is why we always say it is linear function. Linear is always function. Okay, even if you have any horizontal line, for example, this is a real axis, and you are going to draw, for example, y is equal to 2, and you have to check that y is equal to 2 is a function or not. Okay. So y is equal to 2, it is, for example, this is 1, this is 2, y upside because 2 is a positive. So y is equal to 2, the graph, I know the graph, this one is here, you can say, right? This is the graph of what? Y is equal to 2. If you know the graph of this one, and now I'm going to ask you, and this is your x-axis, and this is y-axis, right? And if I'm going to ask you y is equal to 2 is a function or not, just draw a vertical line from anywhere. So you have only one intersection point. Okay, I said to you, this is the point, the common point. Don't say this one, because this is the intersection of the vertical line and the x-axis. I'm not talking about the x-axis, okay? Just I'm talking about the graph y is equal to 2 and the vertical line test. So intersection point between y is equal to 2 and a vertical line, okay? So this is the common point. This is, you can say, this is intersection point. Intersection. So we can say we have just one intersection point, okay? One intersection point, so we can say, yeah, this is the function, yes. Y is equal to 2 is a function. Right? Now I'm going to give you another one. For example, if you have this one, I have this one, x square plus y square is equal to 4. And I'm going to ask you that this given relation is a function or not. And you know the graph, I told you x has 2 exponent, y has 2 exponent. The graph is always a circle. Always a circle, okay? So forget about the radius. If you want to find out the radius of the circle, just find out the square root of 4. So square root of 4 is what? 2. So the radius of this circle is 2. So I'm not going to make the complete circle here. I just want to explain about this given relation is a function and no. So x square plus y square, whenever you see this one 2 and y has 2 exponent, the graph is always a circle. Okay? The graph is always a circle. So now if I want to check that this relation is a function or no, and we know the graph well, so draw a vertical line test anywhere. You can say we have one intersection point here and one intersection point here, means we have two intersection point. 1, 2 means 1, 2. So whenever we have more than one intersection point, means 2, 3, 4. Here we have how many intersection point? Two intersection point, right? Two intersection point. So we will say that it is not a function. So it not a function. So you can say any circle is not a function. Okay. One more thing. For example, I have y is equal to, this is question number 3, for example, QUES stand for the question here. If we have y is equal to under root x, and here I am going to tell you about this is very important. I already explained this one in many previous lecture. Whenever you see this is under root x, okay, so if this is under root x, you will find always that the actual graph of under root x will be this one. This is the actual graph, okay? This is the actual graph, okay? Y equal to under root x, this is the actual graph of this one. And when we just draw a square root and I ask you that it is a function or no, so draw a vertical line, you have how many intersection? Two intersection. You can say no, it is not a function. No, it is not a function. Why? Because it has two intersection points. But when we talk about a square root function, okay, when we talk about a square root function, this is very important point here. Note. The question is, when the square root is not a function, why we say this is a square root function? Okay, so in my previous lecture I told you the standard is always taken as the positive, not the negative side. Okay, so whenever you check this one in the Google or in your professor will explain you about this one, we will take the positive side. Okay, so whenever you make square root function is this one, it means we consider just positive side only. We consider the positive side and ignore the negative side. So this is what we consider, the positive side only. Okay, so the graph is always like this one. Okay, oh sorry. This one I will ignore this one, right? I will ignore this one. And this is actual the graph of what? This one. Actual graph is this one, and this is a standard one, because when we say a square root function, so a square root is a function when we consider just the positive part of this one, right? So if you draw any vertical line test, you will find what? Only one intersection point. So in mathematics we always say square root function, and when we draw the graph, you will see always we will take the positive part. So then you can say, yeah, it is a function. Yes, it is a function. So this is the idea of the vertical line test. Guys, remember, whenever you have any complicated graphs, okay, and when we solve the question, and if we know the graphs, okay, so in 1 second I will check this vertical line test. Remember, in any chapters, because in coming days I will explain you about the derivative, integrations, application of derivative, limit in a lot of cases. Okay, so whenever we have to prove that the given relation is a function, we always use vertical line test. Okay, so in your life, somebody is going to ask you, prove this relation is a function, then we have to draw only vertical line. Don't forget this one, right? Again, one more time, if you have any relation and you know the graph, okay, and in the question it is asked you that prove that this is a function, the given relation is a function, just draw a vertical line. If you have one intersection point, just one intersection point, as I told you here, if you have just one intersection point, you have to say that this is a function, and if you see it has more than one intersection point, then it is not a function. I will tell you one thing more. 1 minute. Because as I told you, every linear is a function. So maybe there is a question in your mind that x is equal to 2. This is very important question. X is equal to 2. This is a function or not? This is also a linear. Definitely I will say that this is a line. Why? Because x is equal to 2. But remember one thing, there is no output here. There is no output here. So if I am going to make the graph of this one, very simple, right? And you know, x is equal to 2. 2 is the positive, so you can say this is 2. So if you are going to draw the graph is like this one. Okay, this is a vertical line. This is already a vertical line, and this is the graph of x is equal to 2. This is the graph of x is equal to 2. And you are asking me that this relation, there is no relation, by the way, because there is no y here. Okay, so if you are going to ask that this one is what, function or no, so if I am going to draw a vertical line test. Okay, so if I draw here the same things, you can say the line coincides. See, the same things, right? Okay, so you can say, for example, if I say this is what, for example, this is 2 and this is minus 2. Okay, and this point is 2. What is the order pair here? And what is the order pair here? So you can say the order pair is here 2, 2. Here what is the order pair? 2, minus 2. So if you see, what is the input here? 2. So input is 2, but how many output? 2 output. 2 here and minus 2 here. Normally, as in my previous lecture I told you, if one input has 2 output, it is not a function. So remember, if some teacher will say to you every linear is a function, then you can ask this question, x is equal to 2 is a function or not. So remember, in each case the linear is always a function, but in this case linear is not a function. I hope guys you all understand, and inshallah in my next lecture please have a look on that, because I am going to solve 10 very complicated question in few minutes. Okay, so take care, bye bye.